Before Messi, before Ronaldo, before football became a highlight factory, there were players who left behind unbelievable stories, and then vanished like they were never there. One of them scammed his way into multiple clubs without ever playing a match. Another scored more international goals than Ronaldo, and still barely got noticed. And one played professional football at age 55. These aren't your typical legends. These are 5 footballers you've probably never heard of, but you won't forget them after this. Number 5. Carlos Kaiser, the footballer who never played. Carlos Kaiser is the greatest scammer in football history. Born in Brazil in the 1960s, he grew up idolizing Pelé, but quickly realized that he had none of the talent, just the charm. So what did he do? He became friends with actual footballers, Romário, Renato Gaúcho, the party boys of Brazilian football. He signed for huge clubs like Botafogo and Flamengo, but somehow he never actually played a game. His strategy: show up, fake an injury, charm everyone, collect the paycheck, repeat. At one point, he even started a fight before kickoff, just so the coach wouldn't make him play. And it worked. The club thought he was defending their honor and extended his contract. He managed to live like a professional footballer without ever setting foot out on the pitch. Carlos once explained it himself: "I wanted to be a footballer, just not on the pitch." In the end, he retired with 0 games played, but enough signed jerseys to fill a museum. Number 4. Kazuyoshi Miura, the man who refused to retire. Kazuyoshi Miura, or King Kazu, is basically football's Benjamin Button. He started his professional career in 1986, and he just never stopped. He left Japan at 15 to chase his dream in Brazil, because back then, Japan didn't even have a pro league. He signed with Santos, the same club that made Pelé a legend, and when J-League launched in the 90s, Kazu became the face of Japanese football. He played in Brazil, Italy, Japan, Croatia, and by the time most players were coaching youth teams, he was still playing first-team football. At 50, he became the oldest goal scorer in professional football. At 56, he was still making appearances. He wasn't clinging on for fame, the man just loved the game. While others retired to punditry and podcasts, Miura was still lacing up his boots. He once said, "If I rest, I rust." Now that is not just dedication, that is obsession. And somehow, it worked. Number 3. Ali Daei, the forgotten goal machine. Cristiano Ronaldo holds the record for most international goals. Right? Well, actually, no. Not until very recently at least. For years, that record belonged to an Iranian striker named Ali Daei. He scored 109 goals for Iran, way before Ronaldo ever hit 100. He broke out with the Iranian national team in the 90s and quickly became the face of Asian football. He led Iran to the 1998 World Cup, their first in 20 years, and scored everywhere he played. Bundesliga, Asia, the Middle East, it didn't matter. He played in the Bundesliga, won Asian Player of the Year, and dominated World Cup qualifiers. But because he wasn't in Europe's elite spotlight, most people just ignored him. He was breaking records in silence and doing it with style. No Netflix documentary, no TikTok montages, just goals. He once said, "I never chased fame, I chased the net." If Daei played today, he would be breaking the internet weekly. But back then, he was just scoring goals and slipping under the radar. But after retiring, he didn't go full celebrity mode. He coached Iran's national team, ran his own clothing brand, and became a UN ambassador. Daei equals humble, classy, lethal. A quiet legend. Number 2. Freddy Adu, the 14-year-old superstar that burned out. Now, this one's tragic. Back in 2004, the US thought they had their football messiah. A 14-year-old kid named Freddy Adu was being called the next Pelé. He had a $1 million Nike deal. He made his professional debut while still in middle school. His mom, who worked 2 jobs to support him, became a key figure in his decisions. But the pressure, just way too much, way too soon. He was passed around like a hot prospect that no one knew how to handle. 15 clubs in 9 countries. But the hype came too fast, too heavy. In his own words, "I was a kid who got hyped, and nobody taught me how to be a pro." One day, he was training with Benfica. The next, he was on a lower tier team in Serbia. He had talent, but the world didn't give him the time or the system to grow into it. Freddy Adu didn't fail. The system failed him. Even now, Freddy Adu still trains, still hopes for a comeback. Not for glory, just to feel like a footballer again. Number 1. Giorgi Kinkladze, the Georgian magician. Born in Soviet Georgia, Giorgi Kinkladze learned to dribble in the streets of Tbilisi, dodging potholes, stones, and neighborhood dogs. He was the kind of player that made fans go quiet, just to hear their jaws hit the floor. He played for Manchester City in the 90s, when they were bad, like bottom of the league bad. But Kinkladze, he was magical. He had a low center of gravity, razor-sharp footwork, and the vision of a chess grandmaster. There's a specific goal he scored against Southampton. Solo run, cuts through 3 defenders, then chips the keeper like he's playing futsal. The stadium lost it. But Manchester City were struggling as a team. They got relegated and offers came in from Ajax and Inter. But Giorgi stayed loyal. And that loyalty kind of buried his career. In Georgia, though, he's still a king. Kids there grew up watching Kinkladze highlights like gospel. And he did it all with no help, no trophies, and no spotlight. If he had been playing today, he'd be all over TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Not every legend wins a Ballon d'Or. Some of them just leave behind unforgettable stories. Carlos Kaiser faked it and made it. Miura refused to quit. Ali Daei broke records while the world slept on him. Freddy Adu got crushed by the hype machine, and Kinkladze, he danced on muddy pitches before the world was ready to see beauty in chaos. These players didn't just play football, they changed it in ways that don't always make the headlines. These are the names they don't teach in FIFA career mode. But now, you know. Do you know any other forgotten footballers with wild stories? Be sure to drop their names down in the comments below. We might feature them up next. And hey, if you're into this kind of football nostalgia, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's bring more of these stories back to life. Because legends, they don't always need trophies. Sometimes they just need to be remembered.